There are a lot of people out there that have heard the music of the Newboys and contemporary Christian music and crossover bands like that are touching culture, youth culture in a very powerful way in the name of Jesus Christ. And one of the participants of that band, Bryan Olesen, is with us. And Bryan as well has since leaving the Newsboys has created his own band called VOTA. And we are so thrilled to have you here, man. It's great to see you.
Here.
Yeah, you are also a worship leader at a church in Lincoln, Nebraska. And you left your family after Easter lunch yesterday, flew into Toronto. We're thrilled you're here. Thanks. But this trip is going to be worth it because you are engaged in some big time stuff related to human trafficking. We're going to focus on the music, but I want to focus on this mission that you have going right now. You're working with an organization. Tell us about it. Tiny Hands?
Yes, Tiny Hands.
What's the initiative? What's the mission?
The mission is we wanted to do something with our album a little bit different, something kind of crazy to raise awareness for a terrible tragedy that's happening at the border between Nepal and India. And Tiny Hands does a lot of work in Nepal. They've got orphanages, they're fighting human trafficking there. And there's one particular tragedy that's happening where these traffickers are going into Nepal, targeting the poorest families there, and they're kind of tricking those families to say, hey, we can find work for your children across the border in India.
Give your life a better child.
Yes.
Give your child a better life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so these families usually raise funds to send their children across the border with this employment agent. And once they get across the border, these girls, these young children are sold to brothels, and most of them never seen again.
It's tragic. So what is the strategy? I read, I think there are over 24 cross-border points between Nepal and India.
Yes.
And you're setting up some monitoring stations through this mission initiative.
Yes. There's 26 border points between Nepal and India, and the government of Nepal has given Tiny Hands permission to put a border station at each one of these border points. And because right now the traffickers are just taking these kids straight across the border. So we decided as a band that we wanted to support and staff 5 of these border stations for 5 years, where there'll be 2 to 4 border guards at each station. They're trained to interrogate people coming across the border, and it's estimated that they will well, right now they're rescuing 200 to 300 girls per border station.
So you literally are rescuing lives of especially young girls whose lives will be manipulated and used and abused in most horrific ways.
Yes, and actually intercepting before this tragedy happens, which is even...
So to heighten the interest of this, to bring people attention to what's going on the Nepalese and India border, your band, VOTA, put together a music project called Love Found Me. Talk a little bit about what this album is, or CD is, and how it's going to be made available, and its role in bringing awareness to this tragic situation of human trafficking.
Sure. Well, basically, I'm a full-time worship pastor at my church in Lincoln, Nebraska, and we used to tour full-time as a band, and since we as a band don't need to make as much money from touring, we decided, you know what, let's do something crazy and let's give this album away. And we did it to draw attention to the tragedy that's happening at the Nepal-India border. And we basically told our fans, before they get the record, they have to watch a quick video of me saying why we're doing this. And they have a choice at that point. They can download the album for free, or they can donate with a gift of any amount. 100% of it all goes to this initiative that we're trying to do with Tiny Hands. And for a gift of any amount, we actually recorded a whole nother sort of secret fun record just for people that support.
And that's an acoustic album.
Yep,
that's right,
acoustic album.
So what do you plan on doing? Are you going to go and see, because I know you're raising money now, and always more money needs to be raised. Are you going to go and see firsthand what your team members and partners are doing on the border in the future?
Yeah, we're actually in October of this year, we're headed to Nepal. I have not been there yet, so we're actually going to see the work firsthand, and I can't wait. We're pretty much at our goal, which is amazing. That when we first launched this, the first month, we told everybody in the world we knew, and VOTA's not the biggest band in the world, so you know, it's not that big of a list of people to tell. But when we told everyone, the first month we had raised about $10,000–$12,000, which is respectable. But there was something in me going, oh no, what have we done? We're so far from our goal, and God just took over and blessed the campaign. Just even being here, that you would even care to share this story with your viewers, and so in October it's going to be so amazing to see the work firsthand, but also kind of document it and send that back to everybody that support us along the way. Even the people that just downloaded the record and thought and prayed about what we were doing.
Yeah, well, so much of what we do here with our Give Life initiatives, which is our international relief and development arm, so much of what we focus on is children that have been victimized, many children that have been victimized in the area of human trafficking, sexual trafficking, and it just breaks our hearts. So when we find a band and a leader like you that really is causal and where there's alignment, we want to showcase that in everywhere we can. And I look forward to talking about ways that we can partner in the future. Let me ask you this. For years you were with Newboys and one of the preeminent contemporary Christian bands and influenced my son, who's in music in the secular field, influenced by them. That's a band, obviously, that it has a business feature to it, a performing feature to it. There's a commercial aspect to it, and nothing wrong with that. That's just that's the reality is, and they bless a lot of people. But you've gone now from being personally, you've gone from being in a commercial band to being the worship leader of a large local church, a mega church in Lincoln, Nebraska. And as well, you have a causal band now with VOTA. That's a very interesting change for you. How have you been on that? Because you've moved from, and I say in a nice way commercially, to causal. It's interesting to see the transition that you've made.
Well, it's just something in my blood just to come up with different ideas to advance God's kingdom, but do it creatively. And I hope that even for your viewers that, you know, we aren't the biggest band in the world, and we couldn't get even the Christian labels to come alongside what we were doing because they honestly couldn't see how they were going to make money in it. So we just thought, you know what, there's another path we can take. We can do something different.
And you can. And one of the things that should encourage you is that whenever you are looking at bands today, especially like what Bryan is doing, is that technology allows you to do so many much more things that traditionally were so expensive. And now you can create with technology some beautiful music and great arrangements and as well a distribution through the web that wasn't available to us, and it drives the cost of the initial project down. Therefore, more money, if you will, can get to the kids that actually need it.
Absolutely. Well, you know, in the success of our campaign so far, I lead at a church of about 3,500 people, and that's what is estimated how many girls we will rescue through this campaign. So to see a room full of about 3,000 people sometimes just hits my heart that, wow, God, you use something like our rock and roll to rescue that many girls from a terrible tragedy. It's just mind-boggling.
The website is lovefoundme.org, and instructions are there. You'll see the website on the screen. And I hope you get behind this and really get behind the VOTA and this initiative and what Bryan's doing, because we really want to reach out and help hurting, innocent children who are being victimized, and we want to do it in the name of Jesus Christ. And then as well, you're able to get some beautiful music that this man and other members of the band have composed, and they're great performers, great artists, and they do great studio work, and I hope that you'll get onto lovefoundme.org and order or make a contribution today. In a few minutes, we're going to be ending the program here with your video, one of your songs. I think it's called "Show Me What I've Got."
Yep.
Is that it? And we want to see what you have. Just tell us about the video, and that'll end our program today.
Yeah. Well, this song just you know, as a touring band, when you're going out trying to proclaim the message of Christ and what God's given you to do, often that comes at a sacrifice of just being gone from your family. And this song just comes from the heart of there's something in me that's always wanting more, and this is about just seeing what you have and that's enough.
Show Me What I've Got's the name of the video and the song. Then go to Crossroads 360 real soon, and you're going to see more interview time with this wonderful leader, compassionate person, Bryan Olesen. It's great to have you with us.